What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. All right. Mr. Rey Mysterio. What's up? Man, can we give a hand for one of the greatest wrestlers in the building? I'm not gonna try to glow and talk about your championships. We got diehard wrestling fans over here. They already know what you've done and your abilities. But just to kick it off, you're here obviously for Over the Limit. Can you talk about the pay-per-view a little bit? What the people are gonna expect and your match that you got going on.
For sure. For all that haven't been keeping up with Raw, we just had a draft. Like 3-4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys got drafted from SmackDown over to Raw. Vice versa. After 3 years, the last time I got drafted over to Raw. Now it happened again, but I've been a long time SmackDown employee.
Staple.
Ever since my entrance with the WWE. But now it's kind of different. Tables have turned, and a lot of the new feuds on Raw are fresh, like the one that I'm about to start up with R-Truth. He's been a homie of mine for a long time.
Yeah.
And we've always talked about teaming up together. Now it's the total opposite. We're going against each other. So I'm looking very forward to that match. We've had a couple encounters where it's just been dropping me. He's been coming from behind and attacking me. Now it's going to come down to the final truth this Sunday, Over the Limit.
And that started with John Morrison.
It started with John Morrison.
And then you.
He jumped right over to me. I believed he put John Morrison out and he had to have surgery. But now it's come over to me, and I'm excited, man, because I can't wait to take care of business and then move on. Because my one goal and one goal only, and I would imagine it's the same for R-Truth, is to find out who's gonna win from John Cena and The Miz, because that's my next eye opener right there. I'm going after the title.
Sunday, if you don't got your tickets yet, you guys gotta get them. Key Arena right up the street. But just getting into Rey Mysterio in general, like to you when you were when you started as a wrestler, we were talking in Tijuana when you were 14. Who was the character you wanted Rey Mysterio to be, and do you think you followed that and he is who he is now?
I think the character that I wanted to be was my uncle, without a doubt. My inspiration, the one person I just looked up to and wanted to be like. He was my mentor, my trainer, like my second father, pretty much. My father wasn't part of this business, so I looked up to him and I wanted to be just like him.
Yeah.
Follow his footsteps. So I pretty much wanted to see a lot of me become him in a way, But the size was just way out of hand. My uncle had a build almost like Tatanka. If you remember Tatanka.
Yeah.
Just big and thick, just chopped meaty. And I was just a skinny kid, man. It weighed 90 pounds. So
you said you were wrestling in churches in Tijuana.
Wrestling in churches. I remember my first payday was a sandwich and a soft drink.
And now you were the WWE champion.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, you go back and reminisce on them stories, and it's good to talk about them, man, because you got to start from the ground in order to appreciate life, and that's happened to me a lot.
That's good. And we were talking a little bit in the studio about kind of like the backstage, before you guys are getting, out there in front of the thousands of fans and performing like you guys do at such a high level. What's going on in your mind? What's going on backstage, and how much interaction do you have with the wrestlers?
I think there's interaction throughout the day in the locker rooms, but I want to say 2 to 3 hours prior to showtime. Everybody's in their own world, man, and you try not to bug each other, step on each other, because everybody's got their own state of mind. I was telling you that there's a locker room where it's the peace and quiet, the mellow cats. Right. That's where they hang out, and you got the locker room with the music, with the beats bumping, and that's where I belong. That's 'cause I'm the one that brings music. I hook up the speakers and my iPhone, and we're cranking up music, man. And there's about 5 to 8 of us chilling in that room, and come down because we're on different matches. So come down at showtime. You know, everybody's doing their thing. You know, me personally, I find a nice quiet corner where I can just chill for a good 30 minutes and just kneel down, pray, and wish luck to everyone on the show. This is prior to the show beginning. I want to say maybe 20, 30 minutes before the actual show kicks off. Then after that, man, it's just pumping up, push-ups, zoning, big time, yeah.
When you're right about to walk out, you know the fans are gonna go nuts when they hear your music and you're playing. Like, what's going in your, you know, like in your, what do you think in your head, your emotions?
That's where it really kicks into high gear, cause especially if you're not the first one, and if you're like the second or third, and a couple of the guys have been out already, and you've heard the crowd, and you know they're live, so you just can't wait to get out. But if you're the first one and you're gonna be the crowd opener, you know that they're gonna react to anything that happens at that moment, because that's gonna be the first thing they see of the night. So prior to walking out to that curtain is just a moment of adrenaline rush, man.
So we gotta get live in Seattle. We have to be
crazy.
Really live in Seattle.
It's gonna be crazy. That's one thing that I've realized that I didn't get to live with SmackDown, because SmackDown is a tape show. We tape it on a Tuesday and then it airs on Fridays. With Raw, everything happens live, and for the past 3 weeks that I've been on Raw, you could just feel the people, just that energy level, you know, floating around. Because once they say we're going live in 3, 2, 1, and that whole arena is just loud, it's like, wow. And you can walk out there and you feel that energy. If you're spiritual, man, you can feel that.
Right.
You can feel it.
The WWE in general, like, it's obviously gone through eras, whatever you want to call it, evolutions. You know, what do you think? You know, what do you think in your mind has been not so much what's your favorite era, but what do you think about its evolution and how it's kind of portrayed to the people that are listening, from kids to grown-ups who've been watching, you know, Hulk Hogan and all of them back in the day?
I think it's been a wonderful. I want to say from the 80s that I've been watching up until now, and it's been a good 31 years of professional wrestling. There's been a big dramatic change, because we were so used to growing up watching the Hulk Hogan's, the R.I.P. Randy Macho Man Savage that just passed away. The Ric Flairs, you know, the Ricky the Steamboats, Andre the Giant, and that was a really cool era. We can relate to that. We could talk about it and kind of reminisce on that. But then you go to the 90s, and then there was a competition in the house, WCW, you know, which kind of led a lot of the new faces and stole some of the WWE faces and created their own brand. The NWO, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho's, the Rey Mysterios, the Conans, and it was like something completely new for wrestling. The cruiserweights, which I thought was a very big impact, and Lucha Libre, which was first introduced worldwide to the wrestling audience. And then, of course, everything got monopolized by Vince McMahon, and WWE was the only game in town. So we had now, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, The Rock, Mankind, Stone Cold, Triple H, and everything just kind of started to readjust. Then we came out with the Cenas, but then Vince McMahon decided to open up the doors for the smaller talent, the younger talent, the not so big and jacked up muscular guys like the Eddies and the Jerichos and the Benoits and the Mysterios, and so that's kind of the new era that our kids right now are growing up to and being able to watch. a lot of wrestlers with my size, my stature, that don't feel intimidated to walk up and say, "Hey, what's up, Ray?" You know, they can come up and to have a pat, take a picture,
Right.
feel comfortable to talk to him. I remember back in the day, I couldn't see Andre and walk up to him because I'd be scared, you know. So it's a good era.
Right.
That's kind of the era that I lived. And if I had to pick one out of all of them, I think I just felt comfortable living all of them. And now being able to see our youth, being able to, because our number one audience today are the kids.
Exactly.
So I would have to pick this era right
You
now.
can see that with
Yeah.
your hat everywhere, your mask everywhere.
Yeah.
You see it. The toys, man. I grew up. I'm not gonna lie. I still have the action figures. The Rock, Stone Cold, Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels.
Yeah.
You know, the evolution has been just so crazy.
Incredible.
And speaking of Vince McMahon, you're talking about the Attitude Era to what it is now. You know, what? Obviously, we don't talk to Vince McMahon and we see him with the strut.
Right.
But you know, when you see Vince in the back, you know, what's he like? You know, is he heading stuff, or is he just, you know, is he still back there right now?
Vince McMahon is the type of person that is a 100% businessman, and he can have a good day or he can have a bad day, and he's the boss. So if the boss is having a bad day, then you can kind of feel him out, and you know he's having a bad day. But there won't be a day that he won't say hi to you or shake your hand. And of course, when he's having a good day, you can see it right away, and he'll always comment on whatever he needs to comment on, whatever person it is or whatever superstar it is. If he needs to tell you something, he'll address you right away.
And speaking, just going into wrestlers, is there a wrestler right now in the locker room that you go when they're on TV and you're in the back watching? Is there somebody that you just want to go and watch that captures your attention, that you just want to see what they do in the ring or on the mic?
Seriously, when Evan Bourne came in for the first time, that's one guy that I really wanted to sit down and watch, because he's just very unique with his style. Jim Morrison, the same way. You know, when he first came out, I actually had a chance to wrestle him some of the first times, but then he kind of just broke loose after they split up, him and Joey Mercury, and they split up the M&M. He was doing like his own thing, and that's when he kind of broke out of the shell and started getting to all the crazy high flying stuff.
The parkour stuff. And he's Prince of Parkour.
Yeah, that's when I started to appreciate who John Morrison was as a wrestler. And there's been a couple. CM Punk, you know, I love hearing his mic skills as well as Miz. You know, so,
and Miz has come up like
we all learn from each other. Believe it or not, man, we're one big family.